Every marriage has its flaws, but if the core values of trust, commitment, friendship, and mutual respect are here, couples can rise above them and come together to find happiness and love. However, if a partner regularly feels misunderstood, disrespected, or much worse, afraid, those are signs of a toxic relationship. If safety is a concern, it's time to leave. In all cases, spouses must work to solve their issues or go their separate ways. Even if you find yourself asking, is my marriage toxic? That's a sign that adjustments probably are necessary. Toxic relationships can take many forms. Often, what happens in the early years of a relationship, this can actually obscure signs. Everyone gets caught up in the whirlwinds of romance when they're courting. Um, Love is exciting, everyone feels new, and the future looks bright. Because of the bright glow that this casts, it's easy to ignore subtle emotional manipulation or other such warning signs of what may become a toxic relationship. But sooner or later, the glow is probably going to fade. And it's that light that where marriage flaws are manifested. Now, understanding what makes a unhealthy marriage is as important as what makes a healthy one. While some signs of a toxic relationship, like feeling unsafe in any way, are immediate red flags, others, however, are issues that could be rooted out early before true rot sets in. So it's important to pay attention to these indicators. The longer they're endured, the harder it is to leave or reconfigure a relationship dynamic. Without knowing the signs of a toxic relationship, couples cannot seek solutions, or they cannot decide when it might be time to leave, because they just don't know. I always say it's better to have a red face once than a yellow face 1,000 times. Or another saying to that would be, sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to be comfortable. Sometimes you have to have the uncomfortable discussions so you can have the comfortable discussions in life. So in no particular order, here are give or take 10, I'm not sure I'll be able to get through them all this class, but about 10 signs that your relationship probably needs a second look, or it's actually just blatantly toxic. Number one, there's constant dismissiveness or belittling. Demeaning language, harsh words, insults, screaming, such behaviors are a telltale sign of a toxic relationship or marriage. They have no place in a healthy relationship and should not happen at all, let alone done in front of other people. If a person constantly humiliates their partner in front of other people, especially other family members, it will target them as an object of mockery and someone who isn't to be respected. This is particularly important if you have kids. That image will wreak havoc on their confidence and security. Take note if your partner always says things like, no one wants you, or you ought to be glad I'm with you because no one wants you, or you're so stupid, or anything similar along those lines. Conversely, if you are saying these things, that needs to be nipped in the bud. You may eventually come to believe them, making it hard to leave a toxic relationship if you're on the receiving end of this or actually on the giving end. Because out of everyone's voice in the world, we're going to believe our own voice the most. We're going to believe our own tone, our own words the most. When silence is frequently used as a weapon, after an argument, taking like a cooling off period is a smart move. A post-fight walk separately, obviously, or an agreement not to speak until you've both gotten your emotions under control. It's helpful for rewiring the fight to flight instincts that arise during a spat. But the old silent treatment, that's a different beast, and it needs to be avoided at all costs. When one partner uses this tactic frequently, they're attempting to assert control over you. If someone frequently falls into the habit of refusing to speak to their partner for hours, even days, they're dictating the terms of an argument and conversation in general. So it's no more than an assertion of control. That's it, a silent one. So even when you get angry with your partner or you get upset, it's common. It's actually even healthy to go your separate ways for emotions to calm down, because oftentimes, if not, you're saying hurtful words to somebody you love that you can't take back. But again, anything above and beyond, a momentary pause or separation to cool down, that whole silent treatment is just almost like a passive aggressive, childish way of controlling a behavior relationship. Number three, manipulation and isolation. For reasons related to insecurity or control, a person may try and separate their partner from other people and other activities in an effort to keep them close by and contained. Left unchecked, this behavior is toxic, bordering on abusive. It can often take form of love and care, with the guilty party saying, "Oh, I just love you so much that I want you all to myself," which could make us feel good in the moment. But when it's done frequently, however, it's a means of control, and it's meant to isolate you from other relationships. And the closer the relationships you have with others, the more that this is ramped up, the isolation. This can also take a more open, hostile form, with one person speaking badly of the partner's family or friends, or intentionally telling lies to them, or saying things to make you jealous, or injecting any statements in there that would cause division from friends or family. Number four, when a person asserts total dominance over finances, it's not uncommon for one person to maybe spearhead the finances. Because let's face it, everybody comes to the relationship and brings things to the table, both our strengths and our weaknesses. So one person might, deal with the social functions, while the other person deals primarily with the finances, while another person primarily deals with the children, while another person primarily deals with housework. That's all common. But when somebody is completely dominating the finances, even giving like a small stipend or allowance, um, not letting you see or be in control of the finances, that's an indication you need to take a little deeper look into the relationship as a whole. One partner feels unsafe, whether that's physically or emotionally. If a partner feels physically unsafe because of their partner in any way, shape, or form, then an escape plan must be made, period. No healthy relationship should make you feel this way. Emotional safety and commitment safety are crucial to have in a relationship. If one partner is made to feel like they can't share their emotions, or that their relationship is so fragile that even the slightest disagreement will cause a major problem, that's kind of a bad sign. If you don't feel safe expressing your thoughts and feelings to your spouse, your relationship lacks emotional safety. If you're worried that your partner might feel lukewarm about the longevity of a relationship, your marriage lacks commitment safety. These two safeties are the foundation of a healthy marriage. Without these, the relationship can feel unstable and resemble a roller coaster. And I just want to reiterate, emotional safety is profoundly critical after betrayal, because nothing in your life feels safe. You don't trust the sun's going to come up the next day half the time. So it is critical to feel emotionally safe to even be on that journey of reconciliation. And if reconciliation is not going to happen, giving yourself that emotional stability so you don't bring into your life or potential next relationship any jadedness. Number six, one person always shifts blame to the other. Does person A often blame person B for things, even things that aren't person B's fault? Or does person A accept a degree of responsibility, but then somehow turn it back on the responsibility of person B? For instance, "Oh, you can understand why I flew off the handle because you do it too." Almost like a blame shifting. If so, the problem isn't person B, at least not all the time. In a position and healthy relationship, both parties will take their share of the blame when it's deserved. One of the themes of a toxic relationship is that one person feels constantly blamed and at fault for the relationship, even for doing things that are not their own fault or responsibility. This may even come down to feeling responsible for your partner's mood and walking on eggshells out of fear of upsetting the other person. I get this all the time when I'm coaching people. They'll be like, oh, so and so makes me angry. So and so does this and it pisses me off. So and so does this and it makes my whole day. No, 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 no. Unless somebody is holding a gun to your head saying, be upset, be angry, those are emotions and behaviors you choose. Simple. Number seven, friends and family keep saying it's problematic. If friends and family often say a relationship is toxic, they may be worth listening to. Friends and family most often want to support their loved one's relationship. Even if they don't particularly care for the partner, they'll still support the relationship. One of the consistent themes of a toxic relationship is that friends and families' voices voice their reservations or explicit lack of support of the relationship. Now, we all have friends and family that, for whatever reason, may not care for the person we're with. But if you're getting a couple people that are really questioning some things, don't breathe down their throat because they're doing this out of love. They're jeopardizing the relationship they have with you because they love you. So take heed. Um, Number eight, the relationship never takes a priority. Very often in a marriage, someone will say one thing, but then do something else entirely. They'll say that the other person is a priority or that family is important, but then consistently put other things first. Whether it's work or outside interest, other friendships, etc. Due to the lack of congruity between the statements and the actions of you're important, but yet they don't show it, resentment will grow. And as we all know, resentment is like that's just like a wedge, a horrible wedge that just keeps growing in a relationship. So try to make your partner, or hopefully your partner is making you feel like a priority, regardless. And I say regardless to nobody should hear, well, they expect too much, they demand too much, they ask too much. That's not an excuse that you should hear, and that's not an excuse you should give. Number nine, sarcasm has become a main language. I want to stress and reiterate that all relationships have their own unique dynamics. Sometimes people will bite their partner. It's like a love nibble when somebody else, that really doesn't work for. Oftentimes there's sarcasm in a relationship. And if it's both mutually done or you're fond of it, wonderful. I'm not talking about that kind of sarcasm. This is about one partner using sarcasm as their main language because on the surface, this seems harmless. It's just a little jab that could be brushed off as teasing. However, sarcasm as a passive aggressive means of one partner communicating a toxic message to another is just very harmful. And if it's constant, certainly it's a big problem. You're such an idiot, even if it's said with a laugh. Sarcasm just tends to erode the intimacy of a relationship. And the one thing that you have with an intimate partner that you don't have with anything else is intimacy. And I don't mean just sex, I mean intimacy. We give everybody else our time, we give everybody else our talents, we give everybody else everything. We don't give them our intimacy. That's the one thing only you and your significant other have. So sarcasm, especially if you've made it clear to your spouse, stop doing this, and they keep doing it, that's just going to erode intimacy. Number 10, and finally, they're constantly gaslighting. When someone continually tells their partner that they're in the wrong and provides examples that the other ones know aren't true, that's a technique called gaslighting. In very simple terms, when your partner makes you feel like you're crazy, or that's gaslighting. White lies, manipulation, even denial, when presented with evidence, are all signs of gaslighting and need to be addressed the right way. Making a partner feel diminished or quote crazy is never a wise idea. Gaslighting behavior degrades connection in the short term and also contaminates the relationship in the long term. You've probably heard this 6 trillion times, so I'm not going to belabor it, but there is a movie about gaslighting, and basically what happened was the husband was trying to make small changes to the house, and then when his wife would question those changes, he would make it out to make her believe she was crazy. And then after a while, she start to question herself, like, am I going crazy? Are these things really happening? That's gaslighting. So those are 10 signs of a toxic relationship. If you have any questions, thoughts, input, feelings, emotions, don't hesitate to reach out to me for any reason. I'm happy to spend some time responding or working with you if you want to sign up for a session with me.